to travel. That's called climate refugeeism. Now, number 7 is another one of these statistical things about humans versus disease. I need to remind you that we're in an arms race against disease. We are evolving to be impenetrable to disease, and disease is evolving to get inside of us, so to speak. The part that I think is difficult for us to remember is every 15 minutes or so, the disease gets to try something new because germs breed very quickly. So maybe you're aware of how flu season works. The flu vaccine is made forecasting which strains of flu will be out by the time the vaccine is done. What's really scary is you'll go to the factory to make a flu vaccine, and by the time you show up, that won't be very effective because maybe the disease has evolved away from that. Disease evolves quickly. So once the disease has gotten lucky and gets into a human, now it can evolve to be more virulent and hurt you more, or it can evolve to spread to other humans better. And so number 7, as we live longer, we give diseases more chances to defeat us. A longer life is more spins of the roulette wheel. Does that make sense? The statistical benefit to microbes, they get more chances to evolve because you're there longer. Number 3 and number 7 kind of go together. They both favor diseases beating us evolutionarily. With more humans, they've got more different safes to crack, and with a longer life, they get more chances to figure out the combo to the safe. Number 8, living in cities makes us more crowded. How many of you have heard of the elevator effect? Coughing in an elevator makes everybody sick in the elevator? Mm-hmm. Are you aware of this? Because you're close to other humans. Maybe you've heard of recycling the air inside of an airplane. So cities are like an elevator or like an airplane. Cities make us more crowded, and crowding makes it easier for diseases to spread together. Think of all the people that have touched your desk, for example. And number 9 is kind of indisputable, but kind of not that science-y. Number 9 is a big picture thing. I think that it's safe to say, number 9, our immune systems are overwhelmed. We're not built for this. We're under-equipped. You know what an immune system is? The thing in your body that figures out what's supposed to be there and what isn't supposed to be there. You evolved in a really simple environment, and genetically you're the same as that cave dweller was. Genetically, we have not changed. It's only been a few generations. And in your hunter-gatherer past, you would see very few humans. You would eat, about 100, 150 ingredients total in your whole lifetime. You would run into a non-family human a few times a year. Now you might see 2, 3, 5, 7,000 humans that are outside your family group in a single day. Imagine a kid who wakes up, comes to the high school, gets pulled out of the high school, rides the Airbus down to LAX to connect through Houston on the way to New York City to go see a show on Broadway that night before going to a big hotel. It's entirely possible for a single Santa Barbara High School student to make their immune system handle more than 10,000 contacts in one day. Like, we're just not built for that. On top of that, think of all the wacky ingredients in our food. Completely novel chemistry, stuff that was not around when we evolved. Think about all of our pharmaceuticals and recreational drugs. Think about all of our cosmetics, the stuff that we put on our skin and how our skin is changing. It's safe to assume that our bodies are just not built for this. Imagine you've got some like crusty old bouncer that's like, ID please, ID please, and they've got like that crappy light and trying to figure out if the ID is fake. And all of a sudden, there's like a riot and like a tidal wave of humans come at your crusty ass bouncer. That's your immune system. You've got this like really simple, like, ID please, immune system. And our bodies are just being overwhelmed like a tidal wave of humanity trying to get in through past that bouncer all at once. Number 9 is that our bodies just probably weren't built for what we're doing to them. And so I think disease has an easier chance. We've definitely seen more and more humans developing silly ass allergies. And it seems like the most wealthy humans have the most allergies. Probably because they have the most stimuli and their body's just overwhelmed. It's like, I don't know, I guess we're allergic to grass?
Who is not allergic?
Unlike how come, like most animals can drink like unfiltered water, but we can't without getting sick. Like, why did that change, or was it ever?
We probably can drink.
Well, no, because like you get like giardia or something, but like
yeah, I mean, giardia affects other organisms.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
the separate thing is that we complain about it more. Yeah. We're not especially delicate in the water sense. We're just not very picky. We're not very picky. You know, wildlife moves around, wildlife is spread out. We get a bunch of humans in one place and then we drink that water. So other animals don't end up drinking their sewage. But that's our only weakness really, is that we're just overcrowded with sewage in one place. Otherwise it's pretty rugged. Yeah.
Eighth thing on your list?
Eighth, crowding.
Can you just read it?
Crowding makes us sicker.
Can you read the list just like without all the explanations?
Man, they were numbered for a reason.
Here, just take
Way
your
to go.
city. Here you go.
Urban sprawl, zoogenic disease. Urbanization brings us closer to the things that get us sick. More people, there's more hosts. Super bugs. Easier travel. Climate refugeeism. Longer lives is more chances per human. Urbanization equals crowding and overwhelmed immune systems.
Thank you.
That should be on YouTube later. You can go check it there if you didn't get that. Number 34 had a lot of little parts. First of all, standing room only is the idea that maybe we can pack so many humans that they would just fit shoulder to shoulder. And that number, like how many humans could we quote unquote fit on the planet, is probably 30, 40, 50 billion humans, but we would use everything up. So one option is we just keep going until we hit that breaking point, that maximum number. At the opposite extreme, there's this idea called the deep ecology model, where human population does not impact any ecosystem. How many humans could you have and squeeze them into ecosystems where somehow those ecosystems are not harmed? That's called the deep ecology system, or deep ecology model. And that number is probably 30,000, maybe a couple 100,000, depending on how you make those humans spread out. It's a really low number.
How many people live in California?
Like 30 million.
Oh, 31 million, I believe.
It's like 41.
It's about a tenth of 41. Yeah.
Something. This is kind of off topic, but so like the Midwest is pretty spread out. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of farmland and such.
Yeah.
So and then like California's pretty
Yeah.
condensed. Yeah. So would technically the Midwest be kind of more environmentally friendly, like just like space-wise, or
Yeah,
less?
I would think so. I would think so.
But then it's funny because they're less environmentally friendly.
Well,
people, like,
it's
they
just
think
so
differently.
our impacts are not only where we live.
Mhm.
So if you like shut off the fossil fuel system and nobody's moving anything, and you shut off all the water transport and water all stays where it falls, then the density of the Midwest is probably very sustainable.
Yeah.
What is it, like 3 people per square mile
It's-
in South Dakota or something?
Yeah.
Like,
That sounds good.
that's
You-
pretty
yeah, you can go
doable.
miles without
That's
seeing.
pretty doable.
Yeah.
You could like, you could eat like wild deer and wild rabbit and wild duck and like, those are nice.
Just have space to see that.
That's like an
Back to me.
9 minutes.
In number 34, there's a vocab term that I have to point out. Limiting factors are things which limit growth. So like human population keeps going until we run out of food, so food's a limiting factor. Or human population keeps going until we run out of water, so water's a limiting factor. And some of those factors depend on how many people there are. So disease doesn't really limit us until we get crowded, then it really limits us. That's called a density dependent limiting factor. Some limiting factors are independent of density. So natural disasters could limit our population size. And that's not, like lightning strikes don't care how many humans you have together. Like tidal waves happen whether or not there's a lot of humans. So that's density independent limiting factor. And there was this guy that's famous that you must know named Thomas Malthus. And this is one of those like really frustrating things for historians and scientists, that Thomas Malthus is used incorrectly by a-holes. So I gotta tell you the story, and at the very end we'll figure out why that story is important, okay? Thomas Malthus was a researcher for a big church in London way back in the day, like pre-Darwin. And his job was figure out how to help the poor, because this church had a big social mission about helping the poor. Thomas Malthus goes to live among poor people, and he's like, hello, poor people, I represent the Church of London or whatever, and I'm here to learn from your lives, and I want to help you. And he wrote this report that said, you know, as there's more and more people, they compete more and more for limited resources, so poor families have a lot of family growth, and population is the biggest problem, because when people get crowded, his famous quote, competition of resources will bring about famine, warfare, and pestilence. You may recognize those as 3 of the 4 horses of the apocalypse, the 4th being death. It's a biblical reference because he was writing for a church. So if it helps you remember, they're the 3 other horses of the apocalypse other than death. Famine, warfare, and pestilence.
Pestilence.
Disease.
Pest.
Okay, doesn't help at all.
Pestilence. Disease foods.
And the basic idea of Malthus is pretty obvious. If you get a bunch of people in one place and there's not enough food, they're going to get sick and they're going to fight over it. And they're going to not have enough stuff. Like, it's obvious. Here's the important thing. So when Thomas Malthus gave this to the church was like, wow, we really got to help people plan their family size. So the Church of London figured very early on that family planning is a social mission, which was in conflict with the Church of London, and so the report didn't go anywhere. Like, oh yeah, but we can't tell them to use rubbers and like the hand of God and stuff, so I guess we're just going to suffer. Okay, cool. However, there was this guy that was also really involved with the church at that time, a young dude named Charlie Darwin. And when young Charlie heard about this report, he's like, oh yeah, those poor people, I wouldn't know. And like 15 years later, when he's trying to figure out why the finches look different on the island, he's like, huh, maybe they compete for resources, and the ones that are better at getting the seed have the babies that look like them, so they'll be better at getting the seed, so natural selection. And here comes the lesson that I need you to have somewhere in there. Neither Darwin nor Malthus ever supported the idea of social Darwinism, where you let unsuccessful humans die because it's like natural selection but for humans. You know, the Ku Klux Klan loves this idea. And they'll often say, Darwin was right, the less successful shouldn't have babies. Or the KKK will say, Thomas Malthus warned us about this. But I gotta be really explicit. Nowhere in Malthus, nowhere in Darwin do they ever support the idea that social Darwinism is wise. As a matter of fact, both Darwin and Malthus were like big proponents of like social programs, and we can debate that. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that they've been misquoted. Finally, in study goal number 35, does anybody know the number one way to lower population size? The most effective way, the one that we know works the most. Yeah?
Raise the age of first childbearing.
That's right. What we're doing to all of you ladies, by whatever means we've got to just keep you from breeding at your age. As long as the average woman puts it off a decade or so, then the total amount of babies that she'll have in the remaining reproductive years will reach pretty close to replacement levels. If we can just distract you. So I don't know, education, careers, political opportunity is one thing. We can lock you all up. We could do the Mad Max chastity belt thing.
Oh my god.
We could, I don't know, put you into the military? Girls' schools? I don't know. Whatever. Well, yeah, of course we could lock up all the boys. We could put the boys into boys' school. We could send them to military service. Whatever it takes to keep the girls from having babies for a few years is the single most effective way to lower birth rates. It's called postponing the age of first childbearing. Would anybody like to ask me anything at all from assignment 5.1?
The vocabulary term at the end, I forgot to think of.
You're not helping yourself. That's your question. Last call for 5.1. Okay. Please take out 5.2. 5.2. And I'd like to do all that vocab now. Vocab on assignment 5.2 now. What?
Grasshopper effect.
Okay, grasshopper effect. I'm not going to explain why it happens for like 3 more months.
Yay.
So you just have to know that it happens. Please look up. Air pollution jumps like a grasshopper. And the most important one, if you could please look over Liam's head over here. From 60 degrees north, air pollution tends to migrate to the North Pole. So the biggest grasshopper effect is air pollution from 60 degrees north to 90 degrees north. Grasshopper jump, air pollution jumps in the northern hemisphere. It moves. We want to believe that our air pollution is our problem, but surprising, our air pollution moves to become other people's problem. Yeah?
Mutagen, teratogen, allergen.
Mutagen is something which encourages mutations. A teratogen affects development, usually of a fetus or of a young person. So you probably should know that mercury is a teratogen. It affects the development of a child or of a fetus.
Wait, can you say mutagen again? Sorry.
Mutations.
Something that
Encourages mutations. And what was the last one?
Allergen.
Oh, well, allergen is easy. It's something that encourages an allergic reaction. And by the way, does everybody know what an allergy means technically, actually? What?
It's your body has those, like, there's like cells in your body that have these little
Immune?
spores. And it's basically your body saying, oh, this is a foreign substance, we don't know what this is, we're allergic to it, when it's actually just a regular thing.
Yeah, it's when your body makes a mistake about an immune response. An allergy is an incorrect immune response. So you should probably attack disease in your body. That's an appropriate immune response. But some of our bodies get all confused and they're like, ooh, peanuts. Which are not a threat to your health. Your body's making a mistake. And in some degrees, your body's overreacting to the point where it'll just shut itself down. Like, oh, I got peanuts, and you die. And it's your body being stupid. Bottom line, our bodies are really stupid. Other vocabs? Other vocabs?
Actually, you had like 3 that you said you were gonna add.
All right.
I'm pretty sure that was mutagen, allergen.
Detoxification, bioremediation, and phytoremediation. If you looked at this study, it said that.
I really like talking about detoxification because I get to talk crap about your moms.
Our moms?
Uh-huh. That's what I said, your moms, yeah.
Cool.
Not all your moms, but I'll bet a couple of your moms. Because detox is a real thing, and everybody assumes that it's something else, which is totally bogus. 100% bogus. So first, detoxification is removing toxins. That's real. In environmental science, we use detoxification to refer those toxins that are in surface water, groundwater, topsoil. So like getting gasoline out of groundwater is detoxifying the groundwater. And getting radioactive fallout out of the soil, that's detoxifying the soil. Those are real things. The part where people are just grossly misinformed is about getting toxins out of a human's body. Almost everything that people say about toxins in the body is wrong. Almost every last word of it. And I'm not a doctor, so go ahead, talk to doctors. I'll just tell you what I understand, and then they can probably say it in better words. First of all, we can take toxins out of your blood by using an artificial liver. It's a very, very expensive process where you have to be hospitalized and your blood is pumped by machines through this giant fancy machine, and some toxins can be removed through your blood. That's very, very expensive. $500,000 a day for 3 to 5 days or something? I don't know, it's super expensive. When people have really severe liver failure, this is like a last chance. It's the artificial liver. That's only the stuff that's in your blood, not the stuff that's inside of your cells. Another type of detox. There's a bunch of ways that you can empty out your digestive system, but do we all agree that that's not in your body, that's in the straw? You understand that? Like if I have a bunch of string, it's outside my body, I can eat that string until it comes out the other side and go, and the string is still outside my body, it's just going through the straw, right? Yes? So what's in your gut is not in your body yet, it's just waiting to be absorbed because it's trapped between some sphincters inside that straw, right?
What are lawns have anything to do with it?
Oh, you'll see. So,
They are the
back to me, please. Back to me. I'm going to demonstrate it now. Whatever is inside the straw is not inside your body. We have to discuss what happens there. I'm sorry, but this is important. And I always say this in a specific order for a reason. For stuff to enter your body, your digestive system has to absorb it from the inside of the straw. It has to take it into the body. And then your blood's going to deliver it to cells which will absorb it. Those are toxins that you have in your body. It's called your body burden of toxins. All of us have things that are bad for us building up. The older you get, the more your body burden grows. It's like a piggy bank. So your cells, whenever you're exposed to mercury, will keep some of that mercury by accident, and then there's more and more until you die. An old body has a higher toxin burden than a young body. It makes sense, right? Here's the part I want to be really specific. No mixture of lemon juice and bitter ingredients and cayenne pepper will change the behavior of your cells to make them purge toxins. Drink all the lemon juice you want. It's probably good for you. Anything that makes you feel good might make you feel good. There's all sorts of weird stuff you can do to your body that's nice. Changing your diet. Any way you change your diet makes you feel good. So don't let me stop you. But let's be really, really clear that changes to your diet do not affect what your cells have absorbed. They're stupid. Your cells don't have independent will. They're just a mechanical device that lets toxins in, and you drink lemon juice, and they still let toxins in. They don't like change the cell to somehow let the toxins out.
Detox in the mom sense is more of like an aura.
Yeah, I know. Yes?
If there's any chance that cells could like evolve to become smarter per se?
I don't think so. I mean, if you were like really likely to prefer toxins, you'd have less offspring. So those cells would be removed from the gene pool. Okay, I'm not sure that we finished everything. If you have other vocab questions, you should ask me when we get back. We didn't do the warm-up. Somebody's got to write a note. Who's got a paper out? You don't have, Brad, put it on your paper.